It's not going to be, I need to just talk about what's going on in my corrupt institution and still be a part of it. You're lying to yourself. They're lying to themselves. Okay? Everybody wants to say, I could change this from the inside. You're lying to yourself. It's a joke. And the people who are commanding these institutions are laughing. I mean, literally, they're howling laughing, big belly laughs, hysterical laughter at the mindset of people who actually believe I can stay in this corrupt institution and somehow make it better from the inside. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And I recognize fully that's going to be very, very unpopular for people to hear. I'm under no delusions that people will hear that and say, oh, that's so great. No one wants to hear this because everybody wants to believe I'm a good person. I'm not involved in the evil. I'm just trying to help. I'm just trying to do something that's good. I'm just trying to make a difference. If you're involved in an institution where you follow orders, the only difference you're making is adding more chaos and evil to this world, and therefore adding more suffering to it. And if you're telling yourself anything other than that, you're lying to yourself. And I know that comes off as very harsh and very self-righteous, the way I've even said it. I stand by everything I just said, and I will not take it back because I know it's the truth. The answer is, if you're involved in one of these order-following institutions, is to quit your job and go do something else. You're a human being that's capable of more than you think you're capable of. You're certainly capable of breaking out of the poisonous mind control of people who hate you so much that they look at you as less than something that they just scraped off of the bottom of their shoe. Okay? That's how they look at these people. And yet these people in their self-loathing mind state will keep taking their abuse, keep taking their abuse. And what I'm here to tell them is it doesn't have to be that way. They don't need to take that abuse. They can change it anytime they want, but first they have to develop self-respect. That's where it has to start. And self-respect has to you have to develop that by getting over your abandonment issues. These people have abandonment issues and they have trauma issues. They have other traumas have been done to them in their past in some form of abuse, whether it be physical, sexual, psychological, mental, emotional. They've undergone trauma, they've undergone abuse, therefore they have self-loathing issues. And the main thing that self-loathing comes from is neglect, abandonment issues from parental figures. Therefore now the state and these people who are commanding the operations of the state and the institutions of the state are acting as their new parental figures. And that they're taking the role of mommy, that the role mommy never played. They're taking the role that daddy never played in these people's lives. And I understand how harsh this sounds because I'm just throwing it all out on the table. There's no time to sugarcoat any of this, folks. It needs to be understood. The psychological dynamics need to be understood in plain, easy to understand terms where we don't mince words and we don't euphemize. These are people with abandonment issues. They're people with trauma issues. And they needed to conquer them by getting some emotional support from people who understand what's going on with these issues and help these people to develop self-respect because they're self-loathing little boys and self-loathing little girls who are looking to the state to be the new mommy and the new daddy. Okay, that's really what's going on psychologically in the mind of order followers. And again, they don't have to continue to be like that, but you're to convince yourself, to delude yourself into believing that you're going to continue to stay in this institution and somehow, some way, you're not going to be actively involved in propagating evil, chaos, and suffering. You are deluding yourself. You're lying to yourself is what you're doing. It's called cognitive dissonance. You're lying to yourself. The answer is to stop doing what you're doing. It's to stop to continue doing the thing that's bringing on more of the evil. You have to pull back from that. Like I didn't continue, when I recognized what Satanism really was, I didn't say, I'm going to work on the inside here. I'm going to start trying to propagate truth within the satanic network. I'm going to be a Satanist and do all the things that Satanists do, and I'm going to work from the inside of this institution to make it better. There's no such thing. It's evil. You need to stop cooperating with it. It's evil. It's there to cause harm. It's there to cause a negative worldview in people's minds so that they stay at a low level of consciousness. Therefore, there is no staying involved in that and somehow doing good. You have to work from the outside to tear that structure down. That's what a positive Mason does. A Freemason, a true Freemason, okay, is a light builder. And what a light builder does is he tears down the negative structures, which I look at myself as a de-occultist. I look at myself as a light Freemason. I look at myself as a light Kabbalist. I look at myself as a light Luciferian. Yes, there are such things. You know, the people who want to believe all these different schools or, you know, different forms of occultism, they're all just bad and they're all propagating bad. No, they're not. There's a positive form for every one of the negative forms. Okay? It's understanding, what are you building with? Are you going to build with darkness and fear and negativity and a poisoned worldview and harmful actions? Or are you going to build with light and knowledge and true understanding and truth and compassion and a positive worldview? You know, that's what a light builder does. And the New Age movement has it wrong too, because they want to believe you only propagate the good and you never talk about the bad. You know, a New Ager would have me never talk about any of this bad stuff. And they're doing a disservice to the community by taking that mindset, because what you ignore is what persists. When you ignore negative, evil things that are taking place around you, that's when they persist. They want to try to turn that around and twist it and to say what you resist persists. It's what you are wrongly resisting, okay? When you wrongly resist the truth, the negative consequences of doing that are going to persist. When you wrongly resist getting involved in the process of exposing evil and exposing injustice and exposing the negativity that's taking place in this world, that's when it's going to persist. It's not the other way around. By exposing it and looking at it, I'm not saying be obsessed with it. I'm saying know what's going on. Be able to effectively communicate that as well. And then you will be in an empowered position, and you will help to put other people in an empowered position through knowledge. You can't ignore something and expect it to go away. When you ignore something, when you ignore symptoms, they grow worse. Because by ignoring the symptom, you're never making an accurate diagnosis of the causal factors of the problem. And therefore, that's why the New Age movement can't give people the solutions, the real solutions, because they're ignoring the problems. They're not talking about the negative, and therefore they're never really getting down to an accurate diagnosis of the causal factors. And in doing so, in not doing so, you cannot identify the solutions either. You're going to be basically running around blind, searching for things and searching for answers, and never really being able to put your thumb on what really caused it, and therefore never being able to put your thumb on how to fix it. So the answer here is look at what's really going on. Be honest with yourself about what you see. Develop the self-respect. Take in that knowledge and then really change it from your inward position, from your inside, not the inside of the institution, from within yourself, by saying, I choose to be part of this anymore, and I will my time, my attention, or my energy to this for 1 second longer. That, by saying no to those institutions that are causing harm, is how we deprive them of their power in the world. That's how real change is made. It is a negative or apophatic process. And again, the New Age movement wants to tell people it's not about the negative. It's not about saying no to something or resisting something. I'm telling people it's all about resisting something. It is all about resistance, because what we don't resist is what's going to persist in the world. What we don't say no to we are tacitly saying yes to and empowering. When we don't say no to something, we're basically saying, I'm okay with that continuing. That's what you're saying when you refuse to say the word no. And when you refuse to come out and expose something that's bad, you're saying, I'm okay with this existing. Well, then, by definition, if you're not saying no to evil, you're okay with evil continuing to exist. And again, a big part of the New Age deception as well is they continue to propagate the notion that evil has to continue to exist. No, evil doesn't have to continue to exist. The existence of evil is a choice that we are making. We are allowing it to continue by not about it. That's the problem with good people. The problem with generally that in their mind they're generally good people. They very rarely take real action to stop evil in the world. You know, evil wants to constantly take action to stop good. They're constantly trying to shut down free speech. They're constantly trying to shut down the propagation of positive information and empowering information. They're constantly taking action 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The problem is when good people refuse to take positive action because they say, oh, that's resisting. That's resisting the negative. That's resisting the evil. Yeah, you're damn right it's resisting the evil. That's what we're here to do. We're here to lead a rebellion against all of this evil in the world. Make no mistake about it. This is about rebelling against tyranny and enslavement. And to lead that revolt by saying, this is wrong, it's evil, and it's not going to stand. And the first way I'm going to attack it, the first way I'm going to resist it is by saying no to it totally, fully in my life by not being a part of it. That's the resolve of courage. That's real courage. That's what this is going to take. It's not going to take anything less than that level of resolve. And most people aren't anywhere near that level of courage and resolve. They're wishy-washy. They buy into these ridiculous notions that no action is going to be required, no hard actions that require deep knowledge and deep sacrifice and time and attention and willpower and courage. These things are all going to be required. It's not going to be something that just magically happens on its own with no effort or will. It's going to take tremendous effort, tremendous willpower, tremendous courage. That's what's required based on the condition that we have worked ourselves into right now at this time and place in history. That's the kind of resolve it's going to take. And once again, please, anyone who's listening, do not confuse what I am saying here with any kind of a naive belief system that I believe that this is all just magically happening or that most people are there. I don't think most people are there. I'm being brutally honest, and I'm assessing the situation as I really see it. I'm not looking at the world through rose-colored sunglasses, okay? I'm telling people we need to know where our work is, because don't believe for a minute that the world is there yet. It's not even close to being at that point. Not even close. And I'm not saying that to try to inspire fear or discourage people. I'm telling people you need to look at where the dynamic really is honestly, from an honest perspective. And know we have a lot of work to do to get that level of courage and resolve up to that place. It's nowhere near the level it needs to be at. Not even close. Not even close. So understand what our work is to do, and it is to directly engage the people who are ego-identified into serving this evil system, and to convince them the real great work is to continue to hammer those people with the truth so relentlessly that they finally break down and stop doing what they're doing. That's what the great work is. That's what it's going to take. You have to engage these people who are lost right now. They're lost souls. And hammer them with the truth so relentlessly and so abundantly that their ego identification finally cracks and breaks down. And they can finally see the truth of what they've been involved with. And then they can develop the self-respect to develop the courage to say no to it. No, the lost word. I will not be a part of this anymore. I will not give you my energy anymore. You will not use me as a battery for your agenda, for your evil, sick, twisted, psychopathic agenda. I will not be used like that. That is where real courage lies. And that's the point that we need to get to if we're going to overturn the religion of this dark priest class that is in control of the earth right now.